What if I told you that the most influential person in the music industry today is someone who hasn't signed a major label contract in years? In this special report, we're diving deep into the staggering resurgence of Angelina Jordan, the girl who first captured America's heart as a child, and has now, in April 2026, completely disrupted the global entertainment economy. At the pinnacle of the digital age, how did a girl who refuses to wear shoes become the most powerful independent force in music history? It's a story of calculated silence, corporate rebellion, and a voice that simply refused to be bought or sold. We are looking at a transformation that defies every rule in the Hollywood playbook. From the moment she stepped onto that first stage in Norway, she was marked for greatness, but the path she chose to get here was far more dangerous than anyone realized. Today, we peel back the curtain on the Jordan phenomenon to see how a child prodigy survived the machine and came out the other side as a mogul. Behind the viral clips and the standing ovations, a dark cloud was forming over the girl they called the next Billie Holiday. While the world saw a charming child with a vintage voice, industry insiders were already preparing for the inevitable crash. The history of music is littered with the remains of child stars who were used up by the age of 18, and many feared Angelina would be the next tragic headline. Rumors of intense creative burnout and legal disputes began to leak from her camp as early as 2023. Critics argued that her vintage sound was a gimmick that would eventually wear thin in a world obsessed with synthesized pop. There were even hushed whispers about her health, as the grueling pace of international travel began to show in her rare public appearances. The pressure of carrying the expectations of millions of dreamers, while navigating the predatory waters of the music business, was reaching a boiling point. Everyone was waiting for her to stumble, but instead of falling, she chose to step out of the spotlight entirely, leaving the world wondering if the Golden Girl had finally been broken by the weight of her own talent. This wasn't just a career at stake, it was a young woman's future in an industry known for eating its young. What really happened behind the closed doors of Republic Records that forced a global superstar to walk away from a multi-million-dollar contract? Our investigation reveals a fundamental clash between artistic integrity and corporate greed. After her massive success on America's Got Talent, The Champions, Angelina was signed to one of the biggest labels in the world. However, sources close to the production of her early 2020s sessions claim the label was desperate to turn her into a generic, radio-friendly pop act. They wanted her to swap the soul for auto-tune and the jazz for generic trap beats. The tension escalated when Angelina reportedly refused to record tracks that she felt betrayed her heritage. This wasn't just about music, it was about identity. The OD of corporate interference nearly suffocated her creativity. When the label allegedly attempted to shelve her more experimental work, she didn't just complain, she fought back. The legal battle that followed was kept out of the press, but the result was clear: she wanted out. She was willing to risk everything, including her fame and her fortune, just to own the rights to her own voice. It was a move that many called career suicide at the time, but as we now know, it was the smartest move she ever made. For 365 days, the world's most haunting voice went completely silent, sparking rumors of a tragic end to a brilliant career. Throughout 2025, Angelina Jordan was a ghost. Her social media went dark, her scheduled appearances were scrubbed, and the dreamers were left in a state of panic. Speculation reached a fever pitch, with some tabloids claiming she had suffered a permanent vocal incident that would prevent her from ever singing again. Others suggested she had moved back to Norway to live a life of total anonymity, exhausted by the American dream. The silence was so absolute that it began to feel like a mourning period for her career. But as we've learned, this wasn't a period of defeat, it was a period of intense preparation. Behind that wall of silence, Angelina was working in a private studio, far from the prying eyes of executives. She was learning the business side of the industry, studying copyright law, and planning a rollout that would eventually leave the major labels gasping for air. The 2025 blackout wasn't a retreat, it was a masterclass in suspense. She knew that by disappearing, she was making her eventual return the most anticipated event in music. While the industry waited for her to fail, Angelina Jordan was quietly building a financial fortress that would eventually terrify every major label in Los Angeles. Upon her return, she didn't come back with a single. She came back with an entire company, MOSARZ LLC. By partnering with her grandmother and a small, trusted team, she bypassed the traditional gatekeepers entirely. The release of her secret trilogy in late 2025 was a middle finger to the old guard. She utilized decentralized distribution platforms and direct-to-consumer marketing that cut out every single middleman. No more 80% cuts to the label, no more marketing fees that never seemed to end, and no more asking for permission to release her own art. This wasn't just a girl singing songs, this was a CEO taking control of her intellectual property. The Secret Trilogy wasn't just a musical success, it was a proof of concept. It proved that in 2026, an artist with a loyal following doesn't need a label to reach the top of the charts. She proved that the gatekeepers are only powerful if you let them hold the keys. The revolution wasn't televised, it was streamed, owned, and operated by the artist herself. We've obtained data suggesting that this 20-year-old is now outturning the world's biggest pop stars, without a single corporate sponsor. As of April 2026, the financial impact of Angelina's independence is sending a tremor through the industry. Because she owns 100% of her masters in publishing, her per-stream revenue is nearly 5 times higher than artists signed to traditional deals. When you factor in her sold-out world tour, where she retains the lion's share of the profit, the numbers become staggering. Insiders suggest that her net worth has tripled in the last 18 months alone. This financial earthquake has major labels in a state of emergency. If other top-tier talents follow the Jordan blueprint, the entire foundation of the music industry, which relies on owning artist masters, could collapse. She has become a living, breathing threat to the status quo. She's not just selling music, she's selling a new way of existing as an artist. The accusations surfaced in certain trade magazines that she's disrupting the ecosystem, but to her fans, she's simply finally being paid what she's worth. As the Westgate Residency shatters every box office record in Nevada, a new battle is brewing that could change the Grammy Awards forever. Her Barefoot in Vegas show has become the must-see event of 2026, drawing celebrities and fans from across the globe to witness the raw power of her voice. But with this level of success comes a new kind of scrutiny. As the 2026 Grammy nominations loom, the industry is buzzing with rumors of a conspiracy to keep independent artists out of the Big Four categories. Can a self-published, self-distributed artist really win Album of the Year? The debate has sparked a firestorm on social media, with fans accusing the Recording Academy of being bought and paid for by the major labels. Angelina herself has remained remarkably poised, focusing on the music rather than the politics, but the tension is palpable. Every night she steps onto that Vegas stage, she isn't just performing, she's making a statement. She is proving that the true measure of an artist isn't found in a trophy case but in the hearts of the people who show up to hear them sing. Is Angelina Jordan just a lucky anomaly, or is she the first nail in the coffin for the traditional music industry? As we conclude our report, it's clear that the girl who gave her shoes away has kept something much more valuable: her soul. She has transitioned from a viral sensation to a global icon, all while maintaining a level of authenticity that is nearly extinct in 2026. Her journey serves as a warning to the corporate machine and a beacon of hope for every independent creator. Whether she sweeps the Grammys or continues to thrive in her own lane, one thing is certain: the music industry will never be the same. Angelina Jordan didn't just capture America's heart, she captured its respect. And in an industry built on smoke and mirrors, that might be the most shocking reveal of all. As the final notes of her residency echo through the Vegas air, we are left with one question: who will be the next artist brave enough to take off their shoes and follow her lead?